And yep, good to be seen.
Amen.
So, all right. So we're dealing with a lesson today titled The Temple of God. For those who may be new or visitors, just want to introduce myself as the teacher, Brother Kevin, and as our reader, Brother Rob. But before we start, as always, we read the law. Exodus, the 20th chapter, verse 1 through 17. Revelations, the 22nd chapter, 13 through 15. And Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, verse 13 through 14. Let's start in Exodus, the 20th chapter. Exodus, the 20th chapter. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read that.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, and out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all of them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Yes, sir. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22. Believe it or not, you live by these things, peace comes. As well as a crown. I don't even know how that feels. Revelation chapter 22. Let's pick it up at 13, brother. Go ahead.
I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Yes, indeed. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, 12th chapter. 12 and verse 13. Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Yep. Because just because a person has secrets don't mean it's bad. For real. So the Lord gonna bring everything into judgment. But again, the title of today's lesson is The Temple of God. We mostly think of the building that was in Jerusalem called the Temple of God. But we're talking about another building today. And we're going to deal with it with the scripture so we can understand what this temple entails. Now, the first place we're going to go to is, let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 16. 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 16. Let everybody get there, and then we will read this one verse. 3 and verse 16. Go ahead and read, brother.
Know you not that ye are the temple of God?
Wait a minute now. He said, don't you know that you are the temple of God? So now we know what we're talking about, right? The subject matter. You are the temple of God. Go ahead.
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you.
Now, what does it mean, the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? Now, you have some preachers, they'll teach you something false. Is this a puff of smoke? Is this an individual that come down and dwell within your body? Or is this something else? Let's see what this Spirit is, because he said, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. Let's see what it is. John, the 6th chapter. We're going to go to 2 places. John, the 6th chapter. We want to get understanding. John chapter 6, and we're going to read one of our favorite spots over here. 6 and verse 63. It's written in red, so you know Jesus is doing the talking. John 6 and verse 63. The Lord said, you the temple of God, what the Spirit that dwelleth in you. Let's look at the Spirit that should be within this temple. 6 and 63. Go ahead and read, brother.
It is the Spirit that quickeneth.
Yes.
The flesh profited nothing.
And when it say quicken, it means to bring alive or make alive. Go ahead.
The flesh profited nothing.
That's right.
The words that I speak unto you.
Words, right?
Yes.
That he speak unto us. Go ahead.
They are spirit.
Yes.
And they are life.
Whoa. So now we know what should be within us in this temple. The words of God, right? Mm-hmm. Skip down to 66, brother. 66 and read.
From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him.
Sometimes people don't, they don't have it within their spirit, so they walk away. Go ahead and read, brother.
Then said Jesus unto the 12, will you also go away?
You gonna leave too? Go ahead.
Then Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go?
Who shall we go? Go ahead.
Thou hast the words of eternal life.
Ain't no God offering this but this God right here, the God of Israel. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He said, this right here, you the one offering that. Can't nobody else offer this. So if somebody leave, that you know it ain't your job to chase nobody. Jesus didn't do it, neither should we. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 1. Solomon, he got another one too. Solomon finna shed life on this spirit. Say, in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall a fact be established. Or a matter. So you have to have witnesses, sometimes. Proverbs chapter 1. And Solomon was the wisest king we had outside of Jesus Christ, because he had mother and father. Jesus just had a father. Came through Mary. His father was God, the Father, up there, sitting on that throne. Proverbs 1, pick it up at verse 20, brother. 1 and verse 20. Go ahead.
Wisdom crieth without.
Yes, sir.
She uttereth her voice in the streets.
Wisdom is crying, and she uttering her voice in the streets. Skip down to 23.
Turn ye at my reproof? Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you.
Wait a minute. He going to pour out his what unto us?
Spirit.
If we turn unto him, right?
Right.
Go ahead and let's see what that is.
I will make known my words unto you.
He going to make known his what unto us?
Words.
Words. Same thing we read in John. See, it's all over the Bible. The more you read, the Lord edify you. Now let's go to John, the 2nd chapter. John chapter 2. Let's build this little bit foundation. John chapter 2. And we're going to pick it up at verse 14. This right here was done 7 years ago. Yep, 7 years ago. It's time to dust it off. John chapter 2, let's pick it up at verse 14, my brother.
And found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves.
So now read 13 just for so everybody will know what's going on. Go ahead.
And the Jews, Passover was at hand.
Yes.
And Jesus went up to Jerusalem.
And what did he do?
And found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting.
Now this is the literal temple, and this is what he found in there. Go ahead.
And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple.
Wait, so he got some cords, and he started whooping on people. This ain't that old sweet Jesus that they got painted and put up on the walls. This one right here ain't playing no games. Go ahead and read.
And the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money and overthrew the tables.
Yes, sir. Threw it overthrew the tables. He turned it up. Go ahead.
And he said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence. Make not my Father's house a house of merchandise.
Oh, because they breaking the law. Go ahead.
And his disciples murmured that it was written, the zeal of thine house.
And his disciples, read that from the top again, brother.
And his disciples remembered that it was written,
yes,
the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up.
And that's in Psalm, the 69th chapter. Go ahead and read.
Then answered the Jews and said unto him, what sign showest thou unto us, seeing that thou dost these things?
What sign you going to show us, see as you did these things? Go ahead.
Jesus answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up.
He said he going to destroy this temple and in 3 days raise it up. Mm-hmm. They thinking one thing, he's talking about another.
Right.
But this is going to show us what this temple is referring to. Go ahead.
Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple in building, and wilt thou rear it up in 3 days?
Wait, it took us 46 years to build this thing. Look how magnificent, beautiful this thing is. And you talking about it's going to take you 3 years. 3 days. Man, this dude crazy. It's what they thinking. Go ahead.
But he spake of the temple of his body.
He spake of the what, brother?
Temple of his body.
He talking about his body, letting you know what the temple of God really is. It's the body. And he's showing us the comparison from that literal temple to your body, actually. Because when you had something in that temple that wasn't supposed to be there, which was selling and buying and doing all this different stuff, he tore it up. So when something going on in your body, mentally and physically, the Lord look at it the same way. He's saying, hey, I'm not on proof of this. Let's look at it a little bit further. Let's go to 1 Peter, the 4th chapter. 1 Peter, the 4th chapter. Because Paul, Paul and Peter, they call it tabernacle too. The Lord always got symbolism and stuff like that in his word. 1 Peter chapter 4, we're just going to read one verse. So in this temple, this is what this should not be in there. 4 and verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
For as much then as Christ has suffered for us in the flesh,
Yes.
arm yourselves likewise with the same mind.
What should this temple have? The same mind that his had. Go ahead.
For he that hath suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin.
Oh, so what shouldn't be there? Sin. It's going to take time to move that old furniture out and replacing it with the new, but it still got to be removed, right?
Yes.
Nonetheless. So now back up to the second chapter, chapter 2. Chapter 2, and we're going to pick it up at verse 21. Chapter 2 and 21. Go ahead and read.
For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than after they have known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them.
Go ahead.
But
wait. You had 2 and 21. Read that again.
For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness.
1 Peter 2 and 21.
Oh, 1 Peter 2, 21. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps.
Yes, sir. He said, wait. He's an example of what we should do. Follow his steps. Go ahead and read. What else?
Who did no sin.
What didn't he do?
No sin.
No sin. Go ahead.
Neither was guile found in his mouth.
Talking foolish. Go ahead.
Who, when he was reviled not again.
Just because somebody say something to you don't mean you got to go tit for tat with them. Go ahead.
When he suffered, he threatened not.
Whoa, when he was suffering, he didn't threaten nobody. Go ahead.
But committed himself to him that judgeth righteously.
Yes, sir. Committed himself to who? The Father. The one that allowed that to happen to him. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. Let's go back. So we see that furniture, that sin gotta be removed. That law gonna come in and keep us on our toes. First Corinthians chapter 3, we read 16, which was, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. We know the Spirit is the words that God speaks. The law, in other words. So now read verse 17, brother.
If any man defile the temple of God.
Wait a minute, I still heard pages. I want to make sure everybody there. Pentecost coming in, we definitely want to get this in there. Go ahead and read.
If any man defile the temple of God,
yes,
him shall God destroy.
Wait, he said, if you defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. Yes. When they was in the physical temple of God, what was he doing? He destroyed him. He came in there flipping over the tables.
Right.
They didn't know it was an example of something that was a little more higher than what they saw. Spiritually speaking, go ahead and read.
For the temple of God is holy.
Yes.
Which temple ye are.
Wait, it's holy. And he said, which temple you are. What tell us that's holy? What let us know what holy is? What about defiled? We're going to look at these things. Let's read Romans, the 7th chapter, then we're going to go to the Old Testament. But let's go where they allow Paul to manipulate the conversation because of their lack of understanding. Romans, the 7th chapter, we're going to read one verse. He said, you know it's holy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, which temple you are? This will allow us to understand what he mean by holy. And truly, we can close the Bible after this and go home. after this verse right here, but we're going to keep going. 7 and verse 12. Go ahead.
For as many as have sinned without...
No, Romans 7 and 12.
Wherefore the law is holy.
Yes.
And the commandment holy.
Wait, so the law is holy. That means that's what's in that temple. Go ahead.
And the commandment holy.
That's what's in that temple. Go ahead.
And just.
Yes.
And good.
He want all that implemented in his body. I want that dwelling in there. Let's go to 1 Peter, the first chapter again. We're going to run over to the Old Testament after 1 Peter. Because Peter finna tell the Israelites that scattered, he finna send them a message. Notice they sending letters to these people. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 13. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 13, he said, now that we getting this message, make sure that we do this one thing here. 1 and 13. Go ahead and read, brother.
Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind.
Yes, sir.
Be sober and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he said be sober. In other words, don't be, as the world called, lacking. Don't get caught lacking, right? Go ahead.
As obedient children, not fasten yourselves according to the former lust in your ignorance.
He said, don't walk according to the former lust. In other words, according to that old man, how he used to be. Read.
But as he which hath called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation.
Do y'all hear that? The Father is holy. The Son is holy. So he said, now you take upon the same identity. Holy. Go ahead.
Because it is written, be ye holy.
Yes.
For I am holy.
Be ye holy, for I am holy. Yes, it is. Go ahead, one more.
And if you call on the Father, who without respect of persons judges according to every man's work, pass the time of your sojourning here in fear.
Yep. So now let's go. Let's go over to Leviticus. We're going to just read this. Leviticus, we're going to use this as a stepping stone to one of the examples of what should be in this temple as according to his word. What law? Let's deal with what everybody like to deal with, eating, right? We all like to eat. Let's concentrate on that. Leviticus, the 11th chapter. You can't go without food, physically or mentally. It's impossible. You will eventually die. Leviticus, the 11th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 46. I'm going to be jumping up, down, So read verse 46.
This is the law of the beast,
yes,
and of the fowl,
yes,
and of every living creature that moveth in the waters.
Didn't Paul tell us this is the holy thing? Mm-hmm. Didn't he say, be ye holy, for I am holy? Right. He said, the law is holy, the commandment holy, just and good. He said, this is the law of the beast. This is something that you're supposed to keep within the temple. Go ahead and read.
And of every creature that creepeth upon the earth.
Yes.
To make a difference between the unclean.
I'm sorry, jump up to verse 1 now. Okay. And if a person is, a vegetarian or vegan, they don't have to keep they don't have to worry about eating these different meats. He's talking to the ones that decide to do this. Go ahead and read verse 1.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, these are the beasts which you shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth.
Yes, sir. He said, look, it's a lot of them out there, so I'm going to tell you what's good for this temple. Go ahead.
Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that you shall eat.
Yep, when it say part of the hoof and it's cloven footed, just think about a camel foot or a pig foot. But neither one of them are clean because they don't chew the cud. But read verse 4.
Nevertheless, these shall you not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel.
He said you can't eat that. Go ahead.
Because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean unto you.
So now he just put it into perspective. So now he just told us he actually chew the cud, but he don't divide the hoof like the pig do. The pig do divide the hoof, but he don't chew no cud. This dude will eat up anything in sight. But skip down to verse 7. That was all of verse 4, right? You read all of 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, read 7.
And a swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud. He is unclean to you.
Unclean to you. There's the human trash can on this earth. Or not human, but the vacuum, the trash can for anything on the property that a person may have. You look in the fields and stuff like that, the pigs, they'll get rid of it. Jump down to 43. So imagine what we put in our bodies in our early lives. Everything they ate, we was consuming it. Go ahead and read 43.
You shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth.
Yep.
Neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that you shall be defiled thereby.
Because you got creeping things that you can eat. You got bugs that you can eat. All these different things that can be consumed. Go ahead and read.
For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and you shall be holy.
Yes, sir. There it is.
For I am holy.
For I am holy. Go ahead.
Neither shall you defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
That's right. One more.
For I am the Lord that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt, to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy.
He keep mentioning that, don't
he? Yes.
And we are a temple, right?
Yes.
What if we decide to go against that even though we heard it? What is his reward for this temple when he come back? Let's go look. Let's look at Isaiah, the 66th chapter. I never show nobody this scripture unless they adamant and arguing so hard, and I need to just close the door with it. Because this one right here is a brutal scripture. Isaiah 66, and let's pick it up at verse 15. Remember in 1 Corinthians, he said, if you destroy his temple, or if you defile his temple, he will destroy you. That's what he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at Isaiah 66. He gave us an example when he went in that temple and started whooping on them guys. 66 and verse 15. Go ahead.
For behold, the Lord will come with fire.
He coming with what?
With fire.
Okay, he coming with water. Go ahead.
And with his chariots like a whirlwind.
Yes, sir.
To render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For by fire and by sword will the Lord plead with all flesh.
Wait, and this plead ain't saying please, y'all. Just listen to no. This pleading is another plea. Like beat your head, plead. Go ahead.
And the slain of the Lord shall be many.
He said it's going to be many of people that get killed by him. Go ahead and read, brother.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh.
Wait, we just read according to the law, we wasn't supposed to eat the swine, right?
Right.
He said that would make you defile your temple. And now you're not being holy as he is. Go ahead.
And the abomination.
Yep, and the abomination, and what else?
And the mouse.
And the mouse. That's one of them critters you cannot eat. But it's a delicacy all around the world. In other countries, they will eat the mouse. Go ahead and read. They even worship it too. Go ahead, brother.
Shall be consumed together, saith the Lord.
Now we see what happened to that temple, right? By not listening to what the Lord say. Let's go to Genesis, the first chapter. Genesis chapter 1. We got 2 more scriptures and we're done. That's what it's starting to feel like. Genesis chapter 1. And verse 1. Read verse 1, then we're going to skip 1 and 1. Go ahead, brother.
In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth.
Yes, sir. Skip down to verse 11. What'd he say?
And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so.
Yep, because you got the seed within itself. So you won't actually see it like mushrooms. It's a seed within itself. Go ahead.
And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind.
Yep.
And the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself, after his kind, and God saw that it was good.
Wait, it was what, brother? Good. Skip down to verse 29. Verse 29 and read.
And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
Oh, so this is for the vegans. And the vegetarians. They get to eat how they want. You understand? The Lord said, I gave you plenty. Go ahead and read.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so.
Yes, sir. So that was their diet at one time. You didn't always have lions running around tearing carcasses apart like the way they do. Everything was eating what? The herb of the field. It's going to go back to it down the line, but right now, the Lord has said it so. Let's go to Daniel, the first chapter. Let's look at something that happened. Daniel chapter 1, because I speak about vegetarians, then I speak about vegan, then I speak about meat eaters. Daniel chapter 1. Mm-hmm. We're going to read a little bit about Daniel right here. And the king, Nebuchadnezzar. As often they throw feasts, and they expect all the people that are wise, the dignitaries and everybody else, to come up and to eat with the king, partake. And this was after he removed us from our land, besieged it, and brought us unto Babylon. Daniel 1 and verse 1. Read that.
In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it.
Yes, sir. Skip down to verse 5, brother.
And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king.
So now he appointed a daily provision. This is a type of feast, a banquet where he wanted them all to come. And then he said after the 3 years, This is what he wanted them to do, to stand before the king. Skip down to verse 8 and read.
But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself.
Did we catch that? He don't know what's in this people's stuff. And all he know is he's supposed to keep that temple holy. So now he's thinking about it. And he said, I can't do this. I don't want to partake. Go ahead.
Now God had brought Daniel unto favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed you meat and your drink. For why should he see your face worse, liking that the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me and endanger my head to the king.
Go ahead.
Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Yep.
Prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink.
So now Daniel is saying, because they believe that their diet is going to be overpowering and going to have Daniel and them looking better than what they looking now. And Daniel said, hold on. Prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days. Give us 10 days. Let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. We all know water good and healthy for you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you take that over wine. Go ahead.
Then let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portions of the king's meat, as thou seest, deal with thy servants.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So he consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days.
That did what, brother?
Proved them 10 days.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat.
Oh, so he didn't eat the king's meat to get fattened up and look healthy, did he? Go ahead.
Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse.
Look, so you had the lentils and all that different stuff, grains and nuts and all those different things that you can eat. He said, we'd rather take that over what you gave us. Now, I just want to read a little something about the vegetable protein and stuff that come from the ground and the difference between the meat protein, because you have two. And you will get it from it. God is a genius. Because I always was wondering, why do people be arguing about what your diet is going to be? Look, whatever yours is, let it be that. Whatever mine is, let it be that. Let's do it in moderation according to the book. And everybody should be fine. Look, you like apples, I like oranges. What's the argument? None. Both of them are fruit that's good to eat, right?
Right.
So now, I'm going to have you read. I got some documentations that I had pulled up years ago. It's called Animal Protein versus Vegetable Protein. And we're going to read what protein is made of and then skip down. But go ahead. What is protein made of?
Plant protein.
Right there, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't hit that spot for you. But go ahead.
What protein is made of? Proteins in food are made of amino acids. Some amino acids, called non-essential amino acids, your body can make, while others, called essential amino acids, you have to get from your diet.
Yes.
Because your body could not make them.
Yep.
The non-essential amino acids include alanine, asparagine, aspartic acid, glutamatic acid. Usually amino acids such as arginine, cysteine, glutamine, glycine, ornithine, proline, serine, and tyrosine are non-essential. except during periods of illness and stress. Notes Mediplane Plus. The 9 essential amino acids are histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylethylamine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine.
Yep. So all those words, we look them up all on our own. But go to the benefits of eating animal protein. Because he said the body cannot make that up. Protein, that's why you have to eat it from different sources. Go ahead and read.
Animal proteins such as eggs, meat, chicken, poultry, as well as seafood and dairy products contain all essential amino acids you need to build proteins with your body.
You need to build protein with your body. Go ahead.
With the exception of dairy foods, most animal-based proteins contain few, if any, carbs, giving you a high percentage of your total calories from protein.
Yeah.
Many protein-rich animal-based foods such as red meat, egg yolks, and dark meat poultry are also rich in zinc and heme iron, which is more readily absorbed in your body than the iron in plant-based foods.
And we know this is a fact. These are facts, though. Benefits of eating plant protein. This is what Daniel took over the king's meat at that time. Go ahead.
Getting your protein from plant-based foods such as soy, quinoa, other whole grains, legumes, as well as nuts and seeds means that you're more likely to have a lower intake of dietary cholesterol and unhealthy saturated fat.
That means you got a healthy temple going on, right? Go ahead.
Proteins from soy and quinoa are classified as complete proteins because they contain all essential amino acids, much like the proteins from animal-based foods. A 2010 review in Nutrition and Clinical Practice reports that individuals following vegetarian diets have lower body mass indexes, lower blood cholesterol levels, and lower blood pressure than non-vegetarians. Although not all plant proteins are complete proteins, you can still obtain all the essential amino acids by eating a variety of plant proteins during your day, notes Medline Plus.
Right. So in other words, guess what? With whichever way a person fall and eat a diet, if you just go plant-based, you good. If you go animal-based, even with the fruits and the vegetables, you good. Because you need that protein, right? Because our body can't make it up. But Daniel knew. God was smart enough. The Lord put it on his heart, and he understood that. So now, we're going to come back to some of this stuff because we got some more written in here. Let's go to Numbers, the 11th chapter. Let's go to Numbers, the 11th chapter. So it's good not to argue with nobody. Hey, man, you should eat this, and this should be your diet. Look. The Lord said, I can eat meat. The Lord said, you ain't have to. So guess what? Choose your poison and keep it moving. Numbers, the 11th chapter, and pick it up at verse 1. That means stop messing with each other with our diets. But number 11 and 1, go ahead.
And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord.
Yes.
And the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled. And the fire of the Lord burnt among them, and consumed that were in the uttermost parts of the camp.
Now, this is Israel. They going through the wilderness. And they crying, they are complaining. And Moses has to hear this every day. All the time. Go ahead and read verse 2.
And the people cried unto Moses. And when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched.
Go ahead.
And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them.
Go ahead.
And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat?
What they want right now?
Meat.
Flesh. They want some meat. Go ahead and read.
We remember the fish, which we did eat in Egypt freely.
We remember what, brother?
The fish.
They remember that fish. They said, we remember it. And what else? Go ahead.
Which we did eat in Egypt freely.
Yes.
The cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic.
Y'all know we run it down like that. Man, that we had the cucumbers, the melons. What else we had? Remember that yellow rice? That was good. Got the garlic in it. Go ahead and read.
But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes.
Listen, that manna was good enough. If the Lord give it to you, you should be content. But that's why it upset the Lord, because you complain, and you can ask for meat. There's nothing wrong with it. But go to him and petition him for that instead of complaining and talking about your soul is dried up. Come on, man, you ain't gonna die. Your soul get dried up if you don't eat nothing at all. Big difference. Skip down to verse 10, brother, and read.
Then Moses heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent. And the anger of the Lord was kindled greatly.
Yes.
Moses also was displeased.
Yes, sir.
And Moses said unto the Lord, wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? And wherefore have I found favor in thy sight, that thou layest the burden of all this people upon me?
Now Moses is like, wait, hold on. I ain't know I had to go through all this. Why you afflict me with this hard-headed people, man? Let's keep complaining. Skip to 14, brother.
Am I not able to bear all this people alone?
He said, I am not able to bear all this people alone. Go ahead.
Because it is too heavy for me.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
If thou deal thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand. If I have found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness.
Oh, man, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with thee.
Yes, sir.
That thou bear it not thyself alone.
Look how mindful the Lord is with Moses. He said, all right, I got you. Go ahead and read.
And say thou unto the people, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh, for you have wept in the ears of the Lord, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat?
The Lord said, all right, I weighed in now. You've been complaining, you're ready for the meat. Go ahead.
For it was well with us in Egypt, therefore the Lord will give you flesh, and you shall eat.
That's right. How many days? Let's see what he said. Go ahead.
You shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days.
How many?
But even a whole month.
Oh.
Until it come out at your nostrils.
Look at him. He said, I'm going to fill you up. You ain't going to think about me. Next time you see some meat, you probably throw up. Go ahead and read.
And it will be loathsome unto you, because that you have despised the Lord, which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And Moses said, the people among whom I am are 600,000 footmen. And thou hast said, I will give them flesh that they may eat a whole month.
I'm going to give them flesh that they may eat a whole month. Now, that's verse 20, right? No, we read 21. Skip down to verse 31. Let's see what happened. Because he said, not 1 day, 2 days, none of that. He said a whole month. 31, go ahead.
And there went forth a wind from the Lord, and brought quails from the sea.
Wait a minute, bird? Boy, that's too close to chicken, ain't it? Go ahead and read. Go ahead.
And let them fall by the camp, as it were a day's journey on this side, and as it were a day's journey on the other side, round about the camp, and as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth.
Boy, that's about, 3 feet high? full of birds. And he said, there's enough meat for you now. We finna see. Go ahead.
And the people stood up all that day, and all that night, and all the next day, and they gathered quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 homers, and they spread them all abroad for themselves round about the camp.
Boy, they got so much meat, they like, look, go ahead.
And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people. And the Lord smote the people with a very great plague.
Yes, sir. And what he did?
And he called the name of that place Kilbroth Hadavah, because they buried the people that lusted.
Now, everybody that was lusting, he said he buried them. All that quail, that's probably why we like chicken so much today. He put a whammy on them that we love it. And if we ain't got that, we like turkey. We fall for that turkey. We'll take that turkey. Some kind of bird, yard bird, we gotta have it. Lord said, I'm spanking them. Let's go to Philippians 2. Philippians 2, we're gonna read one verse over here. So what is the Lord letting us know? He don't like the murmuring and the complaining. See, you can get my attention without all that. It's called prayer. Ask. (14). This is why Paul said what he said. 2 and 14. Go ahead.
Do all things without murmurings and disputings.
Do all things without what, brother?
Murmurings and disputings.
And they didn't. And that's why the Lord killed them. But now we see it. So we ain't going to do that. We shouldn't, right?
Right.
That's part of the body, this temple, that should not be or should not have that spirit on it. So now, let's go to Hebrews, the 13th chapter. We're going to read one verse over there. Hebrews 13. Because you'll see it. I remember, who was it? Well, I ain't going to call the brother name. But we used to stand around. We used to talk about it all the time. I mean, nothing but food. So much so, hey, watching the Food Channel and all that. Hebrews 13, and we're going to read verse 5. 13 and verse 5. Go ahead and read, brother.
Let your conversation be without covetousness.
What do you want your conversation to be clear of? Lusting for stuff that you know you're not supposed to have or in excess of. Go ahead.
And be content with such things as ye have.
Yes, sir. If you got that manna, eat the manna. Go ahead.
For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee.
That's right. Let's read 6 for good measure.
So that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me.
Let's go to 1 Kings, the 17th chapter. Because in 1 Kings chapter 17, something else happened too. He said that he may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. Let's look at this example. 1 Kings 17. And we're talking about the guy, Elijah here. The prophet. 17 and verse 1. Go ahead.
And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab.
Gilead, but go ahead.
Inhabitants of Gilead said unto Ahab, as the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word.
He said it ain't going to be no dew nor rain these years according to my word. Go ahead.
And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith that is before Jordan.
Go ahead.
And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook. And I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there.
What? He commanded the birds to feed you there? Go ahead.
So he went and did according unto the word of the Lord. For he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith that is before Jordan.
Yes.
And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning.
Stop. He brought him what?
Bread and flesh.
So the Lord wanted him to eat flesh, or the birds wouldn't have brought it. So he had a mixture between two, bread and flesh, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And bread and flesh in the evening.
Yes.
And he drank of the brook.
Did y'all notice he ain't have no third meal? We do over here, but he ain't have no third meal. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land.
That's right. Go ahead.
And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee.
Yep, go ahead.
So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering up sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, As the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat and die.
What?
And Elijah said,
that we may eat it and die. So this woman think I'm on my last leg and meal, and this is what we was finna make for me and my son. Because after this, we ain't got nothing else. We're gonna die.
Right.
Go ahead.
And Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son.
Wait, she probably had to look at him like, what? Make you a little cake first? Then you just heard what I said. I only got a little bit. But the Lord setting this thing up, because he the one take care of all of us. Go ahead.
But thus saith the Lord God of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth.
That's right. He told her, hey, this thing going to extend. Go ahead.
And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. And she and he and her house did eat many days.
How many days?
Many
She
days.
thought it was going to be one and then it's done. He said many days. Go ahead.
And the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah.
Oh, so the Lord said, I kept it going, didn't I? Mm-hmm. We see that example because over in Hebrews, that's what he said, what would happen. He said, be content with such things as ye have. Mm-hmm. And then he told you, he said that you may boldly say the Lord is my what? Helper. Yeah. And the Lord said he wasn't going to forsake us, right?
Right.
Let's go to Ezekiel, the 4th chapter. Everybody be on that down slope where you feel like you had no turn. Like, wait a minute, I need this, I need that. Next thing you know, the Lord come through at the last moment and bless you with it. You like, what? This whole time he was setting it up like the bowling ball with the pins. He's setting this thing up. Why? Because you didn't stop serving him, even though you was going through it. You stayed the course. You didn't break the law. Ezekiel chapter 4, pick it up at verse 7. 4 and 7. Now, this is simple of the siege here. Man, we going through so much siege. Israel done been through every captivity known to man. But 4 and 7. Go ahead.
Therefore thou shalt set the face toward the siege of Jerusalem, and thine arm shall be uncovered, and thou shalt prophesy against it.
Yes, sir, this is the Lord telling Ezekiel about this. Go ahead.
And behold, I will lay bands upon thee, and thou shalt not turn thee from one side to another, till thou hast ended the days of thy siege. Take thou also unto thee wheat, and barley, and beans, and lentils, and millet, and fishes, and put them in one vessel.
Wait, notice all these different things and mix it up. Pay attention to what he's doing. Go ahead.
And make thee bread thereof, according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon thy side. 390 days shalt thou eat thereof.
Yes.
And thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight, 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat it. Thou shalt drink also water by measure, the sixth part of a hin. From time to time shalt thou drink.
Sound like what we're going through over here in America. Go ahead.
And thou shalt eat it as a barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung.
Wait a minute now. Shall bake it with what? Go ahead.
Thou shalt bake it with dung.
Everybody
that cometh out of man in their sight.
Oh. Bake it with dung. Nobody was ready for that one, was it? Curveball. Go ahead.
And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
So guess what? That's what you got going on today. They put everything on a man in this food. But guess what? You follow what the Lord tell you to eat and how to eat it and serve him. And guess what? He'll make sure that you're good. But keep going though.
Then said I, the Lord God, behold, my soul hath not been polluted. For from my youth up even till now have I eaten not of that which dieth of itself, or is torn in pieces, neither came there abominable flesh into my mouth.
Wait, he said, I ain't did none of that. I ain't broke no law. Go ahead.
Then he said unto me, lo, I have given thee cows dung for man's dung,
yes.
And thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith.
Wait, he said, I gave you cows dung for man's dung. Go ahead.
Moreover, he said unto me, son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem.
Yes.
And they shall eat bread by weight.
Yes.
And with care.
Yes.
And they shall drink water by measure.
Yes.
And with astonishment.
Yes, go ahead.
That they may want bread and water and be astoned one with another and consume away for their iniquity.
Because a lot of the times we look at it like that. This thing stretched all the way down to now. People don't know it. Because you do it by weight. Look. When you go in the stores and you buy these bottles, ain't it by measure? When you get the bag of chips, ain't it by measure?
Mm-hmm.
The chicken, ain't it by measure?
Yep.
It's all by measure. He said it was going to happen. But guess what else he showed us too? Let's go over to the 11th chapter. Same book, 11th chapter. He said, just because I said that don't mean I ain't going to be with you. Just imagine all the stuff from your childhood on up that was in your body that the Lord purged out. He kept you from. The diseases he shielded you from. You didn't know about it because you ain't no doctor. You know. Matter of fact, you ain't God, because he can one that can see the insides of it. But 11 and 16. Ezekiel 11 and 16. We just want that 16th verse. Go ahead.
Therefore say, thus saith the Lord God, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries.
He said, even though I cast you far off among the heathen, and I've scattered you among the countries, what?
Yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come.
Meaning I'm going to be right there with you. I'm watching what they doing, but I'm going to make sure it don't harm you. Because remember, the Lord say, he's the one that can heal, and he's the one that do the killing. He the one that can hurt you and make you whole, right?
Right.
So it's by his design that it happened. The Lord said, I got you, but it's going to hurt a lot of other people. Why? The Lord want to prove his point to Israel. Without me, there's nothing. You're nothing. Did you read all that?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to Proverbs 16 chapter. Proverbs chapter 16. Because Israel, we have times where we was dealing in our land and we didn't like measure. We was giving out false measure and stuff like the nations we're among right now. We be talking about it, but our ancestors was doing the same thing. We was just doing it to each other. Proverbs 16 and verse 11. 16 and 11. We're just going to read the 11th verse. Then we're going to go somewhere else with it. Go ahead.
A just weight and balance are the Lord's.
Wait a minute. What is?
A just weight and balance are the Lord's.
The Lord like a just weight and a balance. Go ahead.
All the weights of the bag are his work.
His what?
All the weights of the bag are his work.
The Lord is watching us, right?
Yes.
Let's go to Amos. I'm going to show y'all why we read that part. Amos, the 8th chapter. The Lord paying Israel back. He said, for your iniquity, you was going to go through this. So we just grew up in it. We don't know what's going on. Till the Lord opened up this Bible, and now we like, oh. Our ancestors was chosen to do what? Teach this Bible, and they didn't. And you want to fight everybody that's dead and gone. The ones that could have made a difference. Amos, the 8th chapter. Pick it up at verse 1. Amos 8 and 1. Go ahead.
Thus hath the Lord God showed unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what seest thou? And I said, a basket of summer fruit. Then said the Lord unto me, the end is come upon my people of Israel. I will not again pass by them any more. And the songs of the temple shall be howlings in that day, saith the Lord God. There shall be many dead bodies in every place. They shall cast them forth with silence.
So now, he told them, Israel is finna get whooped on, and guess what? The songs of the temple shall be howlings in that day, saith the Lord God. Go ahead.
Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail.
This is what Israel was doing. Go ahead.
Saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn?
Oh, so every new moon, guess what they had to do? The beginning of the month. Guess what they had to do? They had to take their cattle and they had to offer up a sacrifice to the Lord. That means you could not do any buying or selling. You know why? Because you was too busy offering up your sacrifice. You ain't have time to do no, let me go over and buy this real quick, sell that. Too much was going on. Go ahead and read. What else?
That we may sell corn.
Yes.
And the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat.
And we want the Sabbath to be gone, so we can do what? Sell again. Go ahead and read.
Making the ephah small and the shekel great.
Now we're making the ephah small and the shekel great. Falsifying weight. And the Lord said he like a just balance. Ain't that what he said?
Yes.
But we doing this. So now guess where he sends you at? Here. And now that the trick is on you, You can't say nothing to nobody. You just got to take the blunt of the punishment. Go ahead and read.
And falsifying the balances by deceit.
And falsifying the balances by deceit. What else?
That we may buy the poor for silver.
They did what? Buying the poor for silver? Go ahead.
And the needy for a pair of shoes.
And you didn't think that your people would do this, did you? But they did it to each other. Go ahead.
Yea, and sell the refuse of the wheat.
Yep, and sell the refuse of the wheat. Let's move forward. Let's go to Luke, the 21st chapter. Luke chapter 21. Showing us what was going on in this temple, man. And it ain't just about eating. To lie is defiling a temple. To steal is defiling the temple. To commit adultery is defiling a temple. 21. And we're going to pick it up at verse 33. Now the Lord talking about coming back. And he going to tell us to watch out for something. But before we read that, go to your third page. Go to your third page. No, never mind. Never mind. I'm going to hold off on that. Get ready to go to your fourth one. And you'll see definitions highlighted. Look like that. Just set that to the side. Yep. Get ready to set that to the side. Go ahead and read.
Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away.
That's right. What else?
And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting.
He said your heart going to be overcharged with what?
Surfeiting.
Surfacing. Go ahead.
And drunkenness, and cares of this life. And so that day came upon you unawares.
Wait a minute now. Read that from the top one more time.
And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting.
Yes.
And drunkenness.
Yes.
And cares of this life.
Wait, he said, now be careful, because all this stuff right here in excess, he said, be careful, because a lot of this stuff can take you and it can blind you from what your natural walk is, which is to walk in the Lord. He said this right here it can mess up your vision. Go ahead and read.
And so that day came upon you unawares.
Come up on you unawares. Sneak up on you. Go ahead.
For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Watch ye therefore and pray always.
How you gonna watch if you ain't watching the television and the news and stuff like that? Checking on Jerusalem to see what they doing up there with the temple. You gotta watch. Go ahead and read.
That ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things.
Yes, sir. Wait a minute. So we can escape? That's all I needed to see. Go ahead.
That shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man.
Yep. Because you want to be counted worthy. What does surfeit mean? Let's read that definition. I got it all highlighted, the ones I want you to read.
Surfeit. 1. Excess, an excessive amount, a surfeit of speech making.
Right, so an excessive amount, a surfeit of speech making. We already know what that's about, but go ahead. 2.
Excess or overindulgence in eating or drinking.
So the Lord liked moderation. He said there should be a balance. Go ahead.
3. An uncomfortably full or crepulous feeling due to excessive eating or drinking.
You know how you feel like you just, man, I ate way too much. And you just feel like you know how you feel like you want to throw up, but that ain't what it is, but you just got to suffer that punishment. He said that feeling. What else? What was the other one? Okay, that was surfeit, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's move forward. Let's go to 1 Timothy 4. We're going to read one verse. 1 Timothy 4. First Timothy chapter 4 and verse 8. That's why the Lord say, be sober, vigilant. How you gonna do that with all this stuff going on? Excess. Eating. You ain't thinking about nothing when you full like that. And when you drinking and drunk, your wits is not there to judge nothing. 1 Timothy 4 and verse 8. Read that 8th verse, bro.
For bodily exercise profiteth little.
Wait, what does?
For bodily exercise profiteth little.
Wait, anything that profits is a good thing. To profit means it's good. He said, profit a little. Whether it's a little or a lot, I need it. He said, bodily exercise profit a little. Go ahead.
But godliness is profitable to man. But godliness is profitable unto all things.
Yes.
Having promise of life that now is, and of that which is to come.
Yes, sir. Now, I got another definition about that exercise. This goes with that part of your temple. Let's go to the very, very top, finding a balance. Read that part of finding a balance, then we're going to go to exercise. Go ahead.
Vegetarians and vegans need to ensure that they're getting a variety of different vegetable proteins in their diet, including nuts, legumes, and grains, but also fruits and vegetables. This ensures that your body is getting all the various amino acids it needs to perform at its peak. For meat eaters, it is important to strike a balance between animal and vegetable protein. It's a good idea to limit your intake of red meat as it's higher in cholesterol and fat, and instead opt for fish or poultry. Vegetarians and meat eaters alike should also consider a protein meal replacement like Vegan Smart All-in-One Nutritional Shake or a healthy protein-rich snack like pea protein powder to ensure that they're getting enough.
Okay, go to exercise.
Exercise helps people lose weight and lower the risk of some diseases.
Wait a minute, so if it profit a little, don't you want that?
Yeah.
To lower the risk, help lower the risk. Go ahead.
Exercising to maintain a healthy weight decreases a person's risk of developing certain diseases.
All of us need this. Go ahead.
Including type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. These diseases, which used to be found mostly in adults, are becoming more common in teens.
Whoa, because of the diet. Go ahead.
That's it. Physical activity helps you live longer.
No, that daily. Read that daily.
Daily physical activity can help prevent heart disease and stroke by strengthening your heart muscle, lowering your blood pressure, raising your high-density lipoprotein, HDL levels, good cholesterol, and lowering low-density lipoprotein, LDL levels, bad cholesterol, improving blood flow, and increasing your heart's working capacity. Optimizing each of these factors can provide additional benefits of decreasing the risk of peripheral vascular disease.
Yes, go ahead.
Physical activity helps to reduce body fat by building or preserving muscle mass and improving the body's ability to use calories. When physical activity is combined with proper nutrition, it can help control weight and prevent obesity, a major risk factor for many diseases.
Now, he ain't say go out flashing all the muscles and everything. He telling us what it's good for, right? Go ahead.
Self-esteem and stress management.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Studies on the psychological effects of exercise have found that regular physical activity can improve your mood and the way you feel about yourself. Researchers have found that exercise is likely to reduce depression and anxiety and help you to better manage stress.
Okay, now we can go back. Oh, look at the other part. Go ahead.
Physical activity helps you live longer and prevent many chronic diseases.
Go ahead.
Such as heart disease, high blood pressure, abnormal blood lipid, cholesterol, and triglyceride profile, stroke, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and colon and breast cancers.
Yep. And that's what plagues a lot of us today, right? Now go to Psalm 90. This is why we read all that. Because the temple, the Lord said it can outlive. I'm going to put it in your hands to see what you believe when it comes to the Lord. Psalm 90. And we're going to read verse 10. We got two more after this. Psalm 90 and 10. Yep, go ahead.
The days of our years are 80 years and 10. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow.
Wait. He said the days of your years are 80 and 10 years, 80 years and 10. So you get 70 years. I know people that's way older than 70. And I know some just a year older than 70. What did they do different? Something had to happen within either serving God or following these instructions right here. Some kind of way they kept themselves motivated. Go ahead and read.
Yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off and we fly away.
And notice he said, and if by reason of strength they be 80 years, meaning 80. Each score is 20. 20, 40, 60, 80. So you be 80 years old. And then some even exceed that. You got some people in their hundreds. Sitting around 800 and something, 110, 115, 105, 103. And I've typically saw women like that. And they'll show them on the news. Look who's 103 today. Sitting on their couch. Then you see the younger folks looking more beat up than them. It's just the truth. Because somebody got a hard, rough living and somebody else taking it easy. But now, let's go to Proverbs chapter 23. My daughter had came over, dropped some stuff off. She came outside. I said, man, you fit. I'm like, you gaining, weight. Like, I wasn't saying it like she's getting fat or nothing. I can see what she don't see in herself. Like, whoa, where'd that come from? Because she's dealing with her diet and stuff. She's applying that different thing right there. But I was admiring that, like, man, because me in my years before, I definitely was doing the same thing. I stayed in the gym, worked in the gym at home, made my own gym at home. Diet, living by myself at the time. I was on my thing. I wasn't gonna let nobody bring me down. Had the jugs of water, chugging it. Go to the doctor, they say, wait, hold on, what are you doing? You a vegetarian or something? Vegan? My doctor asked me that 3 times in one visit. And guess what? I had my Bible sitting on her mat right next to her. She didn't know why. But I knew why. I was getting it. She was giving me a testimony. because they go through all your blood work and all this, that, and the third. So you pretty much ain't got no problems. You stay the course, you good. They say they got younger folks than you that ain't even got no. They got cholesterol numbers through the ceiling roof. And I'm looking like, whoa, I definitely don't want to go down that route. Proverbs 23 and verse 19. A lot of it is mentally too. You ain't sitting somewhere stressing, jumping in and out of all this drama that's in this world. That'll kill you, man. Proverbs 23 and verse 19. 23 and 19. Go ahead.
Hear thou, my son, and be wise, and guide thine heart in thy way.
Yes.
Be not among wine bibblers, among riotous eaters of flesh.
He said, be not among wine bibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh. Look at that definition of riotous. Go over there and read that, brother. It's right under the surface.
Riot, in a general sense, tumult, uproar, hence technically in law, a riotous assembly of 12 persons or more, and not dispersing upon proclamation. The definition of riot must depend on the laws. In Connecticut, the assembling of 3 persons or more to do an unlawful act by violence against the person or property of another, and not dispersing upon proclamation, is declared to be a riot.
Yeah, you read that part, but I'll read too.
Uproar, wild and noisy festivity.
Wait, so now he said uproar, wild and noisy festivity, a lot of music, a lot of drama, a lot of eating and meat all passing around, right? Food stacked up here. Go ahead, what else?
3, excessive and expensive feasting.
Oh, expensive feasting. Crab, they got crab legs and lobster. Tell me how delicate this is. To the ceiling. What else?
4, luxury.
Luxury.
The lamb thy riot dooms to bleed today.
You gotta read that part. Read that one.
Riot, to reveal, to run to excess in feasting, drinking, or sensual indulgences.
Right, to reveal, meaning you're doing a lot of reveling, partying. To run to excess in feasting, drinking, or other sensual indulgences. This is what we like to do. Israel like to do this. Said we like to rise up and play all the time instead of taking things serious. Read 3, the next page.
Oh, number 2, to luxuriate, to be highly excited.
Yep.
3, to banquet, to live in luxury, to enjoy.
Yep. So now, let's go back to the Bible now. Let's finish that. We just wanted to read that. When he said riotous eaters of flesh. Go ahead and read, though, brother.
Which verse?
We at verse 21. 21 now. Go ahead.
For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty.
Wait a minute. For the drunkard and the glutton. Glutton means you greedy. You can't stop thinking about that food. That's what they call Jesus. And they called him a wine bibber, meaning a wino. You drink too much. But some people, metabolism and the way they fit, they built different. Look, it may take 10 pieces of chicken wings to hit your spot. And it might take the next person 15. It might take me 5. I can't judge what's going on in your body. Only you know. But when you start hanging over the chair, I know something wrong. 15 is way too many for you. Next time, smack your hand down. No, bro, that's enough. You think you don't need to be hanging over the chair like that, man. But jumper, he said, and then drunkard too. He said, they shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. In other words, it could become a bum. Raggedy. Jump up to verse 2. Read. Verse 2. Nope. Verse 2. Okay. Same book.
Okay. And put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite.
Put a knife to your throat. What that mean? You might as well kill yourself. This is what the Bible is saying. This is what Solomon is saying. And put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite. You always got to have something. You can't go a few hours because your stomach just growling. Can't wait. What? I'm home. You know, like there be finna be a fight. Wait a minute, man. Can't you just focus a little bit? Go ahead and read 3. What else?
Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat.
That's right, brother. Let's go to our last place, Romans 13. Romans 13. The Lord don't want us caught off guard. He wants this temple sharp. And all of us is working on it. We should be anyway. I'm definitely trying mine up, down, sideways. In the corner, I'm like, man, I can't seem to get it straight. I'm wobbling all around the place. 1 minute I'm good, next minute I'm down, 1 minute I'm up. Like, man. Romans 13 and 11, no matter how much flipping, tossing, and falling it is, I'm still going to stay the course. This right here. Romans 13 and 11. 13 and 11. Go ahead, brother.
And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake out of the sleep.
Yes.
For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Oh, your salvation nearer than when you believe. Go ahead.
The night is far spent.
Yes.
The day is at hand.
Yes.
Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness.
Yes, sir.
And let us put on the armor of light.
That's right, brother. Go ahead.
Let us walk honestly,
yes.
as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, nor in chambering
and
wantonness.
Not in that same stuff that we looked up, rioting and drunkenness. Go ahead.
Not in chambering or wantonness, not in strife and envying.
Yeah, go ahead.
But put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof.
Making excuses. Oh, I can eat it because it's clean. But in excess, you're doing damage to yourself, is what the Lord say. So this is how we keep the temple. There's many other things you can add to it on your own that this temple shouldn't be doing, should be doing. We just took the food portion, the exercising, and the Lord showing you can live a lot longer than you want. It's in your hands. I'm giving it to you to do. But it's going to take a lot of discipline too, man. So with that, the temple of God, I hope y'all got something from it. And I thank you as always for your time.